almost always using the conversions campaign. To a smaller extent, I use lead generation, and very seldom I use engagement, but I seem to ignore everything else. And why should you consider doing that as well? Okay, so I'm just going to give you a quick rundown on the other campaign objectives, just so you know why we always use conversions most of the time, and to a small extent even lead generation or engagement, but we pretty much ignore the rest. Okay, so let's take a look at brand awareness and reach. So if you take a look at this icon here, it says show your ads to people who are most likely to remember them, and reach sounds rather similar. Show your ads to the maximum number of people. So this is kind of like where boost post actually comes in. And if you have done any Facebook marketing before, or you have clicked the boost post button, then you know that you will get a lot of reach, perhaps for more bang for the buck. Apparently you get a lot of likes, a lot of social proof, a lot of reactions, people commenting even, but there's a problem with that. You're not getting even the interested prospects, because what's happening here is that it's just showing advertisements to people that have the habit of commenting and liking. So we don't really want that going on. Okay, so that's why I stay away from brand awareness and reach. I had pretty much not used them at all. Okay, now the next one, and this is a deception here. Okay, traffic. Send people to a destination like a website, app, Facebook event, or messenger conversation. Now when you take a look at out of all the campaign objectives here, this seems to be one of the considerations that make a lot more sense, right? But I'm just going to warn you up front, stay away from using traffic objective, okay, despite the way it sounds, because what's happening here is that you're going to get most probably a lot of clicks. So you get a low cost per click. A lot of people are clicking on your Facebook ad, and it might seem exciting initially, just like boost post. But the problem is that Facebook is serving your advertisement to people or Facebook users that are very click happy. That means they have a certain behavior of always clicking on things, and you might know some friends or some Facebook users that are like that. Now imagine that your advertisement is going out to people like that, and you're not going to get any purchasers or even a lead for that matter. So don't do that. It's rather deceptive. Stay away from it. Okay, I've spent quite a bit of money doing this. I do test it every now and then, and if you don't believe me, feel free to spend a little bit of your money to test this out, and you'll find that this is also the case. All right, so out of all the campaign objectives here, this is probably the most deceptive, and where a lot of people initially will lose their money. So stay away from it. Okay, always go with conversions. Now I'm just going to move down chronologically. Let's go with engagement. So this is where you can get like post engagement, page likes. All right, so if you're ever buying likes, this is normally what the campaign objective is. Now I'm not against people buying page likes, especially if you're just starting out. You clearly do not want to have an empty Facebook page with just like 0 to 1 like. And if you're not able to get some of your friends or acquaintances to come and like a page, but you want to look a little bit more credible, then it's okay to buy a bit of likes. But again, I don't recommend that you spend a lot of budget buying page likes, because that's not where the income is going to come from. That's not where the action is going to be at. All right, so if you're going to buy page likes, you can go ahead. I'm just saying, don't spend a lot of money doing that. Okay, spend most of your budget on conversions. All right, so next up, we go to app installs. Okay, this is not applicable unless you're doing apps. Let me just backtrack a little bit. Okay, there's this thing called post engagement, where you get like people sharing and commenting and all that. Now again, this is like probably my third distant campaign objective. But if you're running a restaurant and you're doing promotions, then doing an engagement post would make a lot of sense. So for example, if you're running an F&B or a restaurant and you're doing maybe like a buy one free one meal promo, 50% off, visit at lunch hour, like 12 to 3 p.m, you're going to get a very good deal at our restaurant, then okay, it makes sense using an engagement, because people here have this behavior of sharing good deals. So it kind of makes sense to use engagement for F&B and restaurants or something like that. Okay, so app installs only if you're having apps. Video views. Now some people do run campaign objectives for video views. So if you're expecting to run viral videos and you want it to get seen as much as possible and have people share them, then it's okay. But I just want you to know that even I don't really use this. So if you're playing on a limited budget, I do discourage that you use video views. All right, now next up, lead generation. Now, lead generation is a campaign objective you can choose if you want to get people signing up to a form without having a website. So this works especially for businesses that are straightforward, such as car wash, dentistry, aesthetics, insurance, financial planning, and so on. So it's quite straightforward in that when people click on your Facebook ad, there'll be a form that pops up, and this can also appear on Instagram. You don't need a website for this, and all people have to do is just leave their name, email, phone number, or any details that you ask, and the details will be submitted to your Facebook page, all right? And that's where you do your own follow-up calls from that. So this works especially if you are expecting to meet up in person, or you're expecting to do phone calls, or calling up the prospect. Then lead generation will make a lot of sense, all right? So this is like my distant second campaign objective. And messages, all right. If you want to have people message you directly on Messenger, then you can select messages as well. But I would say that this is probably one of my least favorite campaign objectives as well, because it's a lot of work. You're expecting to write to a lot of people, unless you're doing quite some fact finding, and then that's okay, all right? But one of the pros is that you don't really need a website for this. But with that said, conversions is really where the action is at. I would say that almost all the time, like 80, 90, or even 100% of the time, you'll be using campaign objective, and that's what I teach in my training, okay? So I've already covered that in greater detail in other videos already, so this needs no going through anymore. And followed by catalog sales and store traffic. So catalog sales only makes sense if you are having a catalog on your Facebook page, and store traffic if you are running Facebook ads to e-commerce. But then again, you should still be using conversions. So that is what all these campaign objectives are in a nutshell. I've already explained to you what they're all about, and now you know why we always go with conversions, and we pretty much don't quite care about the rest, only to a small extent lead generation, and to a smaller extent engagement, okay? So yeah, that's really all there is to it. Now, at this point, you would have already created your first Facebook ad, okay? And preferably that you run at least 3 advertisements at any given time, so that instead of just putting 1-2 advertisements where Facebook would, I would say, it's either a hit or miss, at least with 3 advertisements, Facebook would be able to rotate them and pick the best winner of them all. So at this point, you can create 3 different Facebook ads, all images, or you can do a mix of images and videos. So for example, you can have 2 images and 1 video running at a time. And in this particular training, what I'm going to do with you right now is that I'm going to show you a very simple but an exciting tool as well, that you can use a built-in video maker within Facebook Ads Manager, and that's pretty wonderful, okay? Now, when it comes to creating video ads, it is a big topic in itself, and you might be getting ideas that, okay, I need to shoot a video on my phone, I need to do some post-production and things like that, which could be quite an open-ended thing and maybe fit for another course. But with that said, I want to stick to Facebook ads right now, and I want to show you a simple way for you to create your own video ads with an available tool within Ads Manager itself. And this is something that takes only a couple of minutes or a few minutes of your time, and it's dead simple, all right? So what we're going to do right now is that we are here on the 3rd step in creating the Facebook ads. So I'm just going to cut the chase here, and at the top here, we're going to give it a name. So I'm just going to call it Video 1. It's totally up to you, whatever name you want to call it. And I'm just going to assume that this is your Facebook page and your Instagram account. We'll just leave it be. When we go to the bottom here, create ad, we'll click on single image or video. We'll leave it at that. And you will notice that you have an option of adding media, or you can create a slideshow or create video. Now, even though this both might sound different, but I would say that this still leads to the same result, where we're going to create animated slides, okay? So despite the different sounding of the name, you're actually given 2 types of category of templates, okay? So let's just click on create slideshow, and as you can see here, there are templates for you to choose from, all right? And if you go to click on create video, it's pretty much similar as well, but they have different types of templates going on, all right? And that's pretty good. So with that said, I'm just going to click on create slideshow. What I want to say is that they all lead to pretty much different types of templates for your videos. So what this does is that you can put in any images that you want, you can add in the text, and change a little bit of customization, especially on the text colors, and off we go. All right, so you can see here that there are different types of previews, different types of videos that you can animate the images on. So I'm just gonna take a random one right now. Okay, maybe I'll just go with this one. All right, something simple. Okay, let's just say this is my video ad of choice. I'm gonna click on continue, and it's broken down into scenes. Okay, so you can choose an image for each of them. Okay, I'm gonna click on this one, and you can choose any images that you already have in your account, or you can just upload, which is exactly what I'm going to do. Okay, so there we go. If you want to do a preview, you can click on the play button on the right and see what comes out. Okay, and then there's the second scene. You can add in another picture again. Yeah, okay, it's kind of random, but I'm just proving a point to you. And you can actually add a text. Okay, so for example, I'm just going to call it Master Social Media Marketing. Now, I want to give you a heads up that one of the bad things about doing this built-in video maker is that the text is pretty limited in the number of characters. So you want to make sure that you know what you're writing here. Okay, so if it's hard to read, you can click on background color, and you can even change the opacity, which means the transparency, and it'll look a little bit better as well. You can change the text color as well if you would like to. Just you can add in a color code, or you can use this color picker. All right. So I'm just going to go with white. I think it's good enough. You can even change the font, and I think this is slightly generous, although not that many, but still works. You can even position where you want the text to appear. All right, pretty cool. Let's say if you want this to appear in the middle, that's fine as well. So let's play this video again. There we go. All right. And scene number 3, you can add in another image as well. I'm just going to add another random one. And there we go. All right. So we can add another text. Normally, when it comes to the last scene, I would always like to make it a call to action. Click here to download now. All right. Again, you might see it's a bit hard to see. We click on background image color, and there we go. You can even change the text color as well. All right, let's say this is what we want. Put this in the middle. Change the font if you want. Okay, this looks better. And yes, let's play it one more time. So guys, can you see how simple this is? All right. Now, of course, I know this was done rather simply in terms of the pictures. I'm just using this as an example to show you. And let's click continue. And what happens here is that you're going to review it. And this is what will appear in probably an Instagram story. And we'll click on use video. So what's going to happen right now, it's going to take a couple of minutes for the video to get rendered. And I'll tell you what, talk to you when this is done. Alright, so that took a couple of minutes and we are practically done with the video, and that's it. Alright, so the rest looks familiar to you. This is the part where we add in the text, the headline, and the description, which I'm not going to repeat here right now, but I just want you to know that it's pretty much the same thing. Okay, I'll tell you what, maybe just give me a couple of a few seconds. I'm going to just do this part really quick. And there we go. All right, so I know I pretty much skipped that part a little bit because this was already covered in a previous video, but I just want to show you that this is how the Facebook ad would look like when you put this with a video. Okay, so I'm just going to play this again, which I know this is a very quick work. I guess when you choose your pictures and you choose your words wisely, then it's going to pan out rather nice. Okay, but as you can see, it took me no software or third-party app to do this. You don't really need sound or music for that matter, because most people normally watch in private, maybe outside on a mobile data, and they pretty much get the idea. And I have some winning advertisements that are based on a video ad so simple, so do not discount that. Okay, so once we're done, we'll click on review, and we're pretty much done. Okay, we just click save the draft. And what we're going to do is make sure that this is in publish status. So be sure that you click on publish, and this will enter into a review state by Facebook. And there we go. That took several seconds. We are practically done. Okay, and if you check out the delivery status, it's in review, and if you look at some of the previous advertisements, this all learning. That means it's currently active. Okay, so yeah, now you know how to create image ads and you know how to create video ads. No Facebook advertising training is complete without reviewing how the advertisement campaign is going to be like in the next few days. So if you have followed all the training up until now, I just want to say congratulations, you have been taking action. And still, what is uncertain is what's going to happen in the next few days after you launch a Facebook ad campaign. And I'm going to show you how I take a look at my Facebook ad campaigns. How do I decide which one's winning, which one we should kill off, and what do we do after that? And this is something that a lot of marketers don't really teach in their training, or maybe they kind of reserve it for the next level of training. Okay, so with that said, I'm taking a look into one of this simpler accounts right now. Even though the conversion rate or the currency is in Malaysian ringgits, that's not important right now, because this can be in US dollars, it can be in pounds, it can be in euros, it's still the same thing. Okay, now this campaign is a purchase conversion. That means we are doing a direct sale from FB to a sales page. All right, and one thing you want to take a note of right now is the window of time. So at the top right, this is currently at today's date, and if you click on the top right pull down, you can see what happened yesterday, the last 7 days, or last 14 or last 30 days, or whichever window you want to do, or you can even do a custom range as well. Okay, now if you take a look at today, you can see that there had been 3 purchases with a return on ad spend of 2.88, which is pretty healthy. All right, to me, anything above 2 is pretty good. If you get higher than that, then it's even better. It's not uncommon for people to get a rather high ROAS, or return on ad spend. All right, so here's the thing. One of the common mistakes that beginners make, or they kind of chicken out, is that when they don't see results in the next 1 day or the next few hours, or they spend a little bit of money, then they chicken out. All right, so you don't want to be making that mistake, and you got to give Facebook some time to not only understand your offer, you got to give it time to learn about it and show your advertisements to enough people. All right, and on a human level as well, you know, sometimes people have not heard about you before, they might not warm up to you just yet, and don't be surprised that normally for a lot of campaigns that get started, it doesn't do well. Okay, if you do well initially, then more power to you. But I want you to know that even on an expert level where people are making millions of dollars, they will always tell you the same thing, where the first campaign usually doesn't perform very well. And this is where you need to tweak and be patient. All right, so as a rule of thumb, I normally tell people to run their advertisements for at least 3 to 4 days at the very least. Okay, that means give it a time, run for 3 days on a budget of 5 to 10 USD a day. If you can put in a little bit more, that's up to you, but 5 to 10 USD a day, let it run for 3 to 4 days. All right, there are some people that will run it for a week before making a decision, but right now I'm just going on a bare minimum at the moment, and let's just say this has been running for the last 4 days. All right, so I'm just going to put this in the last 4 days, and as you can see here, this campaign is doing a 3 times return on ad spend, which is pretty good. All right, but tell you what, let's go to the ad set level, and I'm going to show you what is my mindset when it comes to continuing the advertisement or not. Okay, so on an ad set level, this is step number 2. We're going to see that not all of them had actually performed. Like for example, if you look at this ad set which was already turned off. Okay, so I had turned this off earlier. You can see that this has ran for maybe I think like almost 3 days, and it got no results. Okay, so I turned this off initially. All right, now we have another 4 more ad sets that are performing right now, and if you look, take a look at this one. This is doing a return on ad spend of below 1. Now some people might give this a chance, but let's just say you've decided that anything below 1 is practically you're losing money. Okay, because I spent $77 here, I've only made 67, so I'm losing $10. Again, it's up to you at this point. Do you want to still give it a chance? It's okay, but let's just say we've given this enough time. I'm gonna turn this off. All right, so it means that this targeting is not doing well, whereas the others are. Okay, now this is doing really good, this is doing good as well, and as for this one, okay, this has only ran for a day because this was newly created, so it's fine. I'm gonna give it maybe 2 or 3 more days, all right, to perform. Whereas as for this two is doing good. I'm just going to continue. All right. Now, let's take a look at this particular ad set. So I'm going to check this box, and even though it's got 7 purchases, let's take a look at the advertisements right now. So there's a minimum of 2 advertisements running right now, and the winner here is video number 2. And the myth about Facebook ads is that people think that if you're giving it $100, it's going to distribute 50-50, and that's not true. All right. So what normally happens in the next few days is that you're going to see something a bit more disparaging, where more money gets funneled into this than the others. Okay. Now this is a little bit more even at the moment, but I want you to know that typically the ad spend will be quite lopsided, where maybe more would go into this and a lot less into this one. All right. So in this case, I might consider turning off this advertisement because it's not doing as well as the other one, or rather Facebook prefers this advertisement. So what happens here is that I can choose to turn this off right now, and right now I will be running only one ad. Again, if you have watched my previous videos, we do not want to be running only one ad. In fact, you should have a minimum of 3 advertisements. But when I did this, this was done in a rather hurry. So you want to create 2 more advertisements to compete against this current winner. Okay. So yeah, that's pretty much my mindset when it comes to split testing, when it comes to finding the winning advertisement. And again, I think by now you have found out that it's not so much about finding the audience anymore. I think finding the audience is not a problem nowadays, thanks to Facebook's really smart learning machine. But what is your message? Okay. In fact, if we take a look at it right now, you might notice that I always talk about the cost per result, or the results like purchases in this case. If you want to take a look at the other metrics like click-through, all right, this is doing above 1% easily. So people are clicking on the advertisement. They are interested, all right. Click-through in bracket all. This is supposed to be double of this amount at the very least. So you can see it's very well, okay. Number of clicks is not really a lot just yet, 45, but we can tell that the sales copy is converting. Cost per 1,000 impression, if you're targeting the US or tier 1 countries, you're considered pretty good if you're doing $40 or below. If you're targeting Southeast Asian countries, or maybe third world countries, $10 US or below will be pretty good. So this, if I convert, this is more like 5 USD, which is very good again. All right. So these are pretty much healthy stats. I turn off this advertisement because this is not performing after like 3 to 4 days, and I would come up with another 2 more advertisements to compete with this one. All right. So a minimum of 3 advertisements at any given time. I would say if you want to go for more, a maximum of 5. I don't recommend anything more than 5, because anything more than 5, Facebook will struggle to look for the winning advertisement. Okay. So yes, that is my mindset when it comes to split testing, when it comes to tweaking a campaign and optimizing for that matter. And I'm just going to double back a little bit to the ad sets here. You might notice that I had turned off 2 ad sets. Doesn't mean we're just going to stick with this 3. If you want to spend a bit more money, you can create another ad set and run some more advertisements. You take care.